All her life, she believed forgiveness had to be requested, until she learned that sometimes it must be given to save a soul, including your own. Before starting the story, please subscribe and like the video and listen through end for chill. He didn't act like one, she said coldly. The call came on a gray Thursday afternoon, the kind that felt neither alive nor dead, just suspended. Amelia was at her desk in the small Chicago office where she worked as a project coordinator. Nothing glamorous, nothing she truly loved, but stable enough to keep her life afloat. Stability had become her survival strategy. Her phone buzzed. Aunt Cora. She hadn't spoken to her aunt in nearly 3 years, not since the last fight. Not since she told Amelia that running away never heals the wounds you avoid. Amelia considered letting it ring, but something, instinct, fear, that strange pressure that squeezes your ribs when life is about to shift, made her answer. Hello? Amelia, sweetheart, it's your daddy. For a second, Amelia didn't breathe. Her father was the one topic she refused to unpack. Not in therapy, not with friends, not even with herself. What about him? She asked, already feeling her pulse climb. He's getting worse, Aunt Cora said softly. The doctor says he's not taking his medication, and he hasn't been eating properly. A familiar bitterness rose inside Amelia. Of course he wasn't. He always lived like the world owed him a miracle. Why are you telling me this? She asked. He made his choices. Oh, baby, Cora sighed. He's still your father. 1,000 memories slammed into her at once. Her father's heavy footsteps on the stairs, the yelling, the night he threw a plate against the wall because she was talking back, the silence that followed her mother's death, and the way he treated grief like a storm she had no right to stand under. I know, her aunt whispered, but you only get one. Amelia swallowed hard, staring at the stack of documents on her desk. Work suddenly felt meaningless. The world too quiet. Just come visit, Cora urged. Just one weekend. If not for him, then for yourself. Amelia closed her eyes, and despite the resistance in her bones, she felt something crack. Okay, she whispered. I'll come. That's how it began. A journey she thought would be temporary. A visit she believed would last 48 hours. A return to a house she thought she'd left forever. The drive to Willow Creek took 5 hours, but it felt like 5 years. Amelia watched the city fade into long stretches of road, open fields and forests that whispered like old storytellers. As she crossed the town border, her chest tightened. The place looked almost identical. Small cafes, the antique shop with the crooked sign, the park bench where she used to wait for her mother after school. But everything felt quieter, as though the town, too, had aged. The house appeared at the end of the road like a ghost she tried to forget. The white paint was peeling, the porch sagging, the windows dim like tired eyes. She stopped the car but made no move to get out. It felt like the house was staring back, accusing, waiting, remembering. Her aunt stepped outside first, waving gently. You made it. Yeah, she breathed, forcing a smile. How was the drive? Long. Your heart? Longer. Aunt Cora didn't push. She simply led her inside. The scent hit her immediately. That same mix of old wood, lemon cleaner, and a faint echo of her mother's lavender perfume. The house still held her mother. And her father. Where is he? She asked quietly. In the living room. Sleeping most of the time. She touched her arm. Be gentle, baby. He's not the man you remember. Amelia nodded, even though she didn't believe it. Her father looked smaller. That was the first thing she noticed. He sat slumped in the old recliner, wrapped in a blanket, even though it wasn't cold. His hair had thinned, his face sunken. The man who once filled every room with anger now barely seemed to able to fill his own skin. "Daddy," Cora said softly. "Look who's here." He stirred, slowly lifted his head. His eyes squinted, adjusting, trying to place her. When recognition finally dawned, something flickered across his face. Shame, or grief, or maybe just fatigue. "Amelia?" he rasped. Hearing her name in his voice hurt in ways she didn't expect. "Hi," she said quietly. Silent, stretched, thick, uncomfortable. He opened his mouth, closed it, tried again. You came home." "For a visit," she corrected. He nodded as if he had expected no more. Aunt Cora excused herself to the kitchen, leaving them alone. Her heart thudded too loudly. She wanted to yell, to ask all the questions she'd buried. Why were you so angry? Why did you take everything out on me? Why didn't you protect me after Mama died? Instead, she asked, "How are you feeling?" Her father chuckled weakly. Old, stupid, tired. She didn't know how to respond. "You look good," he added awkwardly. "You don't," she replied before she could stop herself. To her surprise, he laughed. A brittle sound, but a real one. Then his gaze dropped to his hands. "Hungry?" he asked quietly. "Your mama always made you eat when you got home." The words knocked the breath out of her lungs. That's when she noticed the plate on the coffee table. Burnt eggs, toast so black it was nearly ash. He tried. He had tried to cook for her, and failed. Her throat tightened unexpectedly. "Let me make us something," she said softly. He nodded, almost grateful. For the first time in years, Amelia stepped into the kitchen she'd sworn never to enter again. Everything was exactly as she remembered. The wooden cabinets, the chipped blue mug her mother used every morning, the tiny crack in the window her father always promised to fix. She touched the countertop, and a memory flashed. Her mother kneading dough while singing softly, her laughter floating like sunlight. Amelia blinked hard. Ghosts lived in this kitchen. She cooked quietly. Soup, the only thing she felt safe making. Her father watched from the doorway, leaning heavily on the armrest. "You still cook like your mama," he said. "She taught me." A long pause. "I taught me too, but I never learned." Amelia didn't respond. She wasn't ready. Not yet. They ate in cautious silence. When he coughed halfway through the meal, a deep, rasping cough that sounded like something was ripping inside him, Amelia felt a jolt of fear. "Are you taking your medication?" she asked sharply. He looked away. "They make me tired," he muttered. "And I don't like needing them." "You'd prefer dying?" she snapped. His shoulders slumped, as though she'd hit him harder than any blow he ever delivered. "Maybe," he whispered. The spoon slipped from her hand. She didn't know how to answer that. Amelia tried to sleep in her old room, but her mind refused to still. The house creaked, the wind pressed against the windows, and every sound felt like memory clawing to be heard. Around midnight, she heard coughing downstairs. Deep, violent. Her heart raced. She found her father hunched over, gripping the armrest, fighting for breath. "Daddy!" She rushed to him. He waved her off weakly. "It's nothing." "It's not nothing," she insisted. She fetched the inhaler from the kitchen, helping him hold it steady. After several shaky breaths, he relaxed. "Thank you," he said quietly. She sat beside him. Not too close, not too far. "You should go rest," he murmured. "I will, after you're okay." His eyes softened. "I'm sorry," he said suddenly. The words stabbed sharper than any insult he had ever thrown. "For what?" she whispered. "For everything." Amelia looked away. "I'm not ready," she admitted. "That's okay," he said. "I don't deserve it yet." Her chest tightened painfully. She didn't realize tears were falling until he reached out, hesitated, then slowly placed his hand on hers. It was the gentlest touch she'd felt from him in her life. The next morning, Amelia found him asleep again, this time peacefully. She brewed tea and wandered the house absent-mindedly, letting old memories surface like bubbles in water. Then she saw it, the attic door. Her mother's sanctuary. Her father had forbidden her from entering it after her mother died. He kept it locked for years. She always assumed it was because he wanted to hold on to memories. Now, the door was slightly open. She hesitated. A part of her knew that stepping inside might unearth something she wasn't ready for, but another part, stronger, was tired of living with unasked questions. She pushed the door open. Dust floated in beams of morning light. Old boxes were stacked neatly, untouched. Her mother's dresses hung on the far rack, yellowed, but still holding shape. A sewing machine sat in the corner. Amelia's breath hitched. Then she saw the trunk. Big, wooden, carved with her mother's initials. She knelt and slowly lifted the lid. Inside were letters. Dozens of them, her mother's handwriting, all addressed to her. Every letter started the same. "To my sweet Amelia." Her vision blurred instantly. Hands trembling, she opened the first one. "If you're reading this, I didn't get the future with you I dreamed of. But I need you to know something. Your father loves you. Not the way I want him to, not the way you deserve, but he loves you fiercely, clumsily, and sometimes painfully. His anger is not about you. It's about losing things he doesn't know how to fight for." Tears streamed down Amelia's cheeks. She read another, and another. Each letter unraveled a truth she had never let herself believe. Her father wasn't angry at her. He was drowning after losing the love of his life, and drowning men thrash. Her mother had known, and forgiven him. Amelia clutched the letters to her chest and sobbed until she couldn't breathe. That evening, she found her father sitting on the porch, staring at the fading sky. "Daddy," she said softly. He didn't look at her. Perhaps he couldn't. "I went to the attic," she said. Still no reaction. "I found her letters." His jaw tightened. "I asked you not to go up there. Why? Why hide them from me?" He swallowed hard. "Because they were all I had left of her." Amelia froze. "And I knew, once you read them, they wouldn't be mine anymore." Her anger disintegrated instantly. "Daddy." He shook his head, tears finally spilling down his worn cheeks. "I failed her, and I failed you. Every day since she died, I've tried to be strong, but all I became was cruel. I didn't know how to live without her. And when you looked at me, all I saw was her smile, her stubbornness, her light. It hurt so much, I pushed you away." The confession broke him, and her. She knelt in front of him, placing her hands on his knees. "You hurt me," she whispered. "A lot. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't expect forgiveness." Amelia thought of the attic. of her mother's handwriting, of the love inside those envelopes. I'm not ready to forgive you, but I'm ready to try. He broke completely, crying into his hands. And for the first time in 13 years, Amelia reached out and held her father. The next days unfolded gently. They cooked together, terribly, but with laughter. They cleaned the house, discovering memories tucked in corners. They talked, carefully at first, then openly. He told her stories about her mother she'd never known. She told him about her life in the city, the loneliness, the silent ache she carried. Each night, they grew a little closer. Each morning, the house felt a little warmer. But his health worsened. Some days he was sharp, others lost in confusion. Some days he smiled, others the pain stole his breath. One afternoon, as Amelia helped him with his medication, he took her hand. "I'm not afraid to die." She fought tears. "Don't say that. It's true. Your mama, she's been waiting, but I don't want to leave until you're okay." "I'm trying," she whispered. "I know, and you're doing better than you think." Then he brushed her cheek gently. "You gave me back my daughter," he said softly. "I can go in peace now." "Not yet," she pleaded. "Please." He smiled. "We don't choose the time, sweetheart. We choose the love." It happened earlier than anyone expected. Amelia woke to a stillness that felt wrong. She rushed downstairs. Her father was in his recliner, peaceful, a small smile on his face as if he were looking at someone she couldn't see. She fell to her knees. The grief was sharp, but not the same kind she remembered as a child. This one was softer, slower, filled with love instead of fear. Aunt Cora held her as she cried. Hours later, they found something clutched in his hand, a note, her name on the front. With trembling fingers, she opened it. "My Amelia, you gave me back the chance to be the man she believed I could be. I know I didn't earn forgiveness, but you gave me something even greater. You gave me time. You gave me a final chapter worth reading. Live your life without fear. And when you're ready, forgive yourself for staying away. I forgave you long before you left. Love, Daddy." Amelia pressed the note to her heart and cried until the pain turned into something else, a release. 2 weeks later, after the funeral, after the condolences, after the exhausting numbness, Amelia went back to the attic. She opened every letter. Then she placed her father's final note inside the trunk, beside her mother's first letter. A circle finally closed. She looked around the room and whispered, "I forgive you." To her mother, to her father, to herself. And for the first time in years, she felt light, truly light. She didn't know what the future held, whether she would keep the house, sell it, or start over somewhere new. But she knew one thing with absolute certainty. She was no longer running, because she finally understood. The house wasn't haunted. She was. And now at last, she was free. If that story gave you chills, drop a like, subscribe, and comment so I know you made it to the end. I've got another one. See you then.